Welcome to MRE Uncut, where we'll give you real and practical insights into the real estate scene in Melbourne. We'll discuss what's happening in the industry, all backed by MRE's history of over 30 years in the game. With that said, let's jump into this week's episode of MRE Uncut.
Welcome to another MRE podcast. My name is Stephen Fitzsimon. Today I'm joined with the founder of MRE, Peter Hoymans.
Yes, Steve, how are you?
I'm well. Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Great.
Thanks for that intro.
No problem.
Feels
And
special.
we have a superstar with us today.
We do. Exciting.
This young lady has got a long history with MRE and has since moved on to the wonderful world of Stockdale Leggo, and where she is part owner and CEO. So thanks for joining us, Charlotte Pascoe.
Thank you for the introduction. Feels very formal.
Yeah, well, there could be listeners out there that aren't as familiar with
So
our
this will
relationship.
unravel from formal to
as it
very
does.
quickly. Yeah.
Charlotte, you had some interactions with MRE in just a few years ago. Tell us how that all eventuated.
As in how I ended up working with you.
Yeah, for a while. I'd be fascinated if you could give the listeners sort of an overview of your sort of career journey and how you ended at MRE. And then
Could start with your job interview. That's a good
Best
memory.
interview ever.
Have you ever done a job interview like that?
No.
Take
it
us
is-
through that because I can't remember it.
I don't think any of us do.
I remember it happened.
It did, and I got the job. So
Yeah.
that's really the high level.
Well, we were on the hunt. I'll actually just interject here.
Okay.
We were on the hunt to expand, our rental growth fast.
Correct.
So we ran an ad from memory for a BDM. Charlotte applied.
No, it came through a recruiter.
Okay.
Because the recruiter was trying
Don't
to call
say
me
the
for
name.
about 2
We
hours.
don't like recruiters.
No, but they were trying to call me for about 2 hours
except
during the
Emma
interview.
Buxton, she's good. So plug. You came through, Emma.
I did.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your caliper came back. I remember that.
I think
We've covered an episode
Did we have
on-
the interview first?
Yeah, I had the
I think
interview
we had
first.
the interview first.
Yeah. And then when your caliper came through, we were like, we better get her back.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think by
You'd
that
offered
stage
me
she
the
was
job.
already in. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I was sort of pretty convinced on at that point that
we were.
she
I
could
said,
be
would
good.
you like a glass of wine while we talk about your job?
Mm.
So we
And that
did.
was just to break down the barriers. Like you
Yes.
don't want people putting on a display that's false.
So once Charlotte came on, you two went gangbusters. You went crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Back
did.
to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd done property management, done BDM and done reception for about 10 years by that point, and was looking for a challenge and something different. Didn't know anything really about Melbourne real estate because it was quite small. Was told that you two are quite amazing, should come and meet you. So came down, met you. Didn't expect to be as excited by it. I went overseas for a few months. I don't know if you remember after
That's right.
you.
I do.
Yeah, so we had the interview. I did the caliper. Then I left the country, and then I extended it as well. But there was a project coming up, and you wanted someone to help
That's right.
with that project.
Good memory.
Yes, and so that's where I launched with Melbourne real estate.
And so what attracted you at that point? Because because I'm interested because I don't think we've talked about it, but I had the same interview in the same office that you did, but it did not include the red wine. But it was a different office to your normal knockabout real estate agents.
Absolutely. What you guys were doing was really different. You wanted to go into a different space. I got to a point where I thought if I'm going to do property management again or business development again, it's kind of going to be much of the same. So I think for me it was about trying something different. It was risky. I was working in a very high profile agency in a very affluent area, so it was pretty run of the mill. And coming over to something that was more about the vision and excitement is why I came in. Spending 2 minutes with you two, maybe 3, I was in.
I think you've mistaken the minutes and the hours.
Yes.
For our
job
component
interview.
of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. We were definitely on a mission.
Definitely.
There was a lot of concept though as well. Like what you'd put together at that point was pretty incredible. You had the projects, you had there was some more projects coming through as well. So it was a case of, we've got to close these deals and we want someone to be part of that journey.
We were actually knocking them back at that point. We couldn't do them all.
Yeah, you were trying to work out what it was going to be.
Well, it went crazy,
Yeah.
But it was something really different.
It was.
Different challenge.
Yeah. Well, we were interacting with different people. That's what sort of got me. Like, it was a different office and a different.
But within a year, I mean, so like a normal, in the BDM capacity, a good BDM does what, 10 a month if they're good?
Oh, if they're pretty good.
Yeah, pretty
it's
good.
Not easy doing 10
10 a month is a big number.
Yeah.
Is it?
If you've got a big sales team, then you'll get the leads from that. But 10 a month is a good number.
Yeah. So you guys were doing, did we track it like really accurately, or do we just we kind of just
Not
slapped
early
them on
on,
in bulk, didn't we? But you said before we started here, you did some maths.
Yeah,
What did you come
I think
up
it was
with?
about mid 200s, 300, I think was where we sort of landed, early 300s.
Mhm.
And I left 3 years later, and I think the rent roll was sitting at 2,100 or thereabouts when I left.
Sounds about right.
So
busy,
we
isn't
did
it?
2,000 or so
It
in
was a
3
lot.
years. Yeah.
It was a lot. And then we had we had to sort of try and, systemize and resource and then create processes. We didn't have
Yeah.
any of that.
No.
There were so many growing pains because we didn't know what to do, and there was nothing to replicate it off. And we were trying to get a new
That
property
was the
manager
big-
every 3.4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were really specific with what we wanted.
That hasn't
Correct.
changed, by the way.
Stop going so fast.
Yeah, well, that's still the same. That is
Yeah.
something that's stayed the same.
Yeah.
But we
and-
had to keep modelling different things. Like we'd try, okay, well, let's try and do it so that someone has a whole project. Then they'd get the whole project. But if they weren't there, no one else knew the project. So we worked out we had to split it and put 2 people on a project. But then it was, well, projects is actually quite different. So then let's do project leasing. So what does that look like? And it was and then we
project
tried
leasing
pods.
Department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just continually
But
changing
it was
what it
different.
looked.
Like you couldn't replicate somebody else's. You'd hire somebody and they had experience and they'd come across and they didn't know what they were doing because what we were doing was so different to what they were used to.
Yeah.
So
And even like Agent Plus, which doesn't exist anymore.
no.
But people getting their head around that when they'd done property management a certain way for so long.
Yeah.
Half of the pain of getting people in who knew what they were doing was actually teaching them how to do it differently, as opposed to teaching from the ground up. It was then having to get them to relearn how we did property
It's
management.
interesting because we're at the stage now where we've got some juniors that have just started going through a course because of the fact that trying to get people to relearn is harder than getting them to learn.
100%.
And so we've just sort of gone, okay, let's just get smart people into the business and we'll teach them where they can go in terms of the property management industry. And because we've tried it again and again and again, and we started doing it that way, and it's sort of gone full circle.
But to Pete's credit, at that time, you were all about, we've got to invest to get this right. So everything that we were like, oh, let's try this. You're like, let's do it. What do we need to do? Don't worry about the cost. We have to invest.
Yes, there was a lot of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Never let money stand in the way of a good idea. I still say it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But I think
It's
because you
harder.
put everything into it, it then gave us the flexibility to play and go, okay, this doesn't work, and quickly change. And we were so agile with everything that we were doing.
Yeah.
Agility, good word. Nimble, fast.
Yep.
We're trying to still do that. It's harder with the bigger team.
It's harder,
Cheers.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I think being nimble is a big deal
Yeah.
in any business, actually.
Well, then it comes down to like the communication and training of the team. When you want to change something, like everybody's like, oh no, because they just got used to doing
So
it a certain
300 to
way.
2,000
Yeah. 2 years.
with
3 years.
yeah. We're going to talk about thoroughness on our.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us can talk about thoroughness. I think
no.
we just move on from that.
All right, we might.
Sorry, we'll forget about
We'll
talking
hold that one
about it.
over. We'll hold that one over. For
What
the
were we
next-
doing?
for the urgency caliper, for the urgency podcast?
Yeah. I think that's more appropriate.
Yeah.
More appropriate. So then you started a family
I did.
and had some challenges and then moved on, and then your journey continued elsewhere, and now you're at Stockies.
I am.
Talk to us about that component of your journey.
And
Sorry, Pete.
no, I have to butt in because
No,
I was like,
but-
talk to us about that part of your journey, that schedule, the responsibility of that role, which is huge, and let's just throw in 3 kids.
Yeah.
4, really.
Well, my husband.
Oh yeah, okay, 4.
Yeah.
Are we talking about
kids.
Simo?
Oh, was.
Jesus, I mean, I don't like.
Yeah.
That's big.
Well, the only reason
Tell her I'm here. I'm fascinated.
Well, the only reason I left, and I said this to you recently, Pete,
Mm.
was because my daughter was unwell when she was born.
Mhm.
Absolutely loved working at MRE, had so much fun. But just the commute was too hard and there was a lot that I needed to focus on the family.
Yep.
Tried my hand at a few other things, worked in a couple of other organisations, didn't quite have the right feel. So I went after I had my second child, so 5 years ago, went for a job with Stockies. Not really knowing anything about franchising, but the focus was growth. And I thought, well, I've got an understanding of growth and, you know, how to identify opportunities. Went in there and pretty quickly identified that you can't grow something if it's not working efficiently. So I, within a couple of weeks, decided I should change my job. So I sat down with the owners then and said, I think I need to change my job because you can't keep putting things in the top of the sieve when things are falling out the bottom.
Yep.
So went through and started pulling apart all of the mechanics within franchising offices and all that kind of stuff. And then I went and spent some time overseas in the States and the UK, did a bit of a study tour to learn how they do it. Really different.
Who'd you see over there, out of curiosity? I know you told me this.
Yeah, so in the States, I spent time with Glenn Cortino, who was doing
Beverly
hardcourts.
Hills?
Yes,
Yep.
down Rodeo Drive.
Yep.
And he had a really interesting story because he took auctions to America. So in America, they didn't do auctions unless it was a distressed sale, but he took the Australian way of doing auctions. So it was really interesting learning about different challenges from him, which I learned a lot through that conversation. Spent some time at the Keller Williams family reunion, which a number of people have been to, but that was quite incredible. They've got like 1,500 people working out of one office.
Yeah, wow.
Labour laws are completely different. But they have like 4 people in the office because they all work remotely, but they tap in. So Keller Williams kind of powers them. And so it's a different model again. In the States, went to some of the biggest like Countrywide and a couple of the biggest companies over there, which was brilliant as well. Came back, had all these great ideas. 2 weeks later, COVID hit. Yeah, so couldn't really put much in place and was unsure about what my future would look like. And then the CEO at the time, I was general manager by this point, said, I'm moving on. Interesting phone call in June 2020. And so then I was offered, do you want to take it on? And I said, well, there's a lot of things that I want to do within the network. If I can do all of these things, then I can have the autonomy and flexibility, sort of drawing on the experience of doing things differently, then yes. And that was, June 2020, so 4 years ago. And then 18 months after.
4 years is just gone so fast.
Yeah.
I know.
We lost like 2 of it just
It's
evaporated.
I'm still trying to work out what day it is, though. I don't know about anyone else, but I still struggle to understand time now. Like when you talk about, was that a week ago, a year ago? I feel like
Listen to
there's
a
this.
Matthew McConaughey podcast on time, and time is linear. He says, he still bend your brain on time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
sorry.
Will do.
Small.
Duly
side
noted.
Note, yes.
So I then Ben, who was Peter Thomas, is the one who franchised it. So he bought the business in 1986, and he turned it from 1 or 2 offices into, at its peak, 110 offices.
Yep.
He was unwell, unfortunately, with MS, and there was a number of things that happened. So the company shrunk during that time. And Ben and I then got to a point where we thought, actually, there's a lot of legs in what this has. It's got a beautiful name within Victoria. It's been around for 85, 90 years.
Yep.
What can we do with it? So we bought it, and here we are.
Going back to your overseas trips.
Yeah.
What were your key takeaways?
Overseas trips, you mean the
US trip.
My learning, my educational little trips that I did, as opposed to
not
when you're going to Italy.
no, not on holiday. Yeah.
Well, the holidays, it's a very big takeaway, but it's a different takeaway.
Yeah. Jesus,
you got to do it. You got to do it. I mean, I did it
Yeah.
in the late 90s, early 2000s. Travelled overseas and did all that sort of stuff, and went and had a look at offices. And
it's the best thing you can
even
do.
back in the day, in the late 90s, the big deal was to go up and see John McGrath's office.
Yeah.
They had the 3 reception desks or whatever it was at the front. You walked in and it was just like, wow, this is so impressive. That's
And Chris Rolls is another one.
28 years ago now.
Do a lot of that with too.
Yeah.
Like
That was a different operation though.
Yeah.
But
it's continual learning.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's good. There should be more of it.
Absolutely.
People don't do it though.
No, but
No.
people are scared to ask.
But if you think of the major agents in Melbourne, we won't name names.
Yeah.
I'll bet you there'd be very few of them could say, I've just been over and spent time with Foxtons, or another agency I love
Yep.
is Marsh and Parsons, because
Yep.
it was run by a guy I know really well, Pete Rollings, fantastic legend. Or even Corcoran Group, something like that. Or the big one, Sirhan.
Yeah,
I mean, King.
he's amazing.
It's number one agent in the world, as far
And
as I'm concerned.
Well, I think, going away,
So-
I don't think you even need to. Like, I think for people, if you don't have the budget to go on a big trip, that's okay. Go and speak to other agents within
So
the city that you live in. And if it's not just there, also, what are they doing in South Australia? Sydney,
get a credit
Brisbane?
card and just go.
Just go.
Yeah, there's no, you can't let money stop you doing that. You just make it happen.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tax deductible
You
trip.
mentioned, actually, so we're going to run out of time on digging much deeper, but no, you mentioned something at the very start of that talk about your journey that I think is, because people say, oh, what's the secret to a good culture, and how do you, what's the best way to grow the business, and how do I get more landlords? They're always sort of focusing on the result. But you said fun. We used to have a shitload of fun.
Yeah.
Not saying we don't have fun now. We had a whiskey last night. That was quite fun.
That was good fun.
For your 15th year. But I remember back in the day when you guys were on a roll, it was always fun.
Yeah.
And I think, that's in where you are now. What we're for any, like, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether it's restaurant or real estate. But I think real estate as well is kind of a tough game.
It is.
You get, you cop a lot of hits. You get phone calls around the clock. People really don't respect your Sundays and Saturdays. So if you're not having fun when you're doing it, or having fun, making sure you're having lots of fun, kind of makes you a bit bulletproof, I reckon.
Absolutely.
What's your read on that?
I agree. I actually took some big lessons about having fun at MRE into my team. And if you were a fly on the wall, everyone's just like, you've got to do the work. You've got to work hard. Everyone works extraordinarily hard, but it's not without having fun and having a laugh. And I think, I'm the biggest believer in taking the piss of myself, because then it opens it up for other people as well.
Yeah.
And I think you've just got to be able to have fun with yourself and have a bit of vulnerability and not too much ego, and just enjoy it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Yes. But we didn't finish your juggling act of CEO and motherhood. We touched on that. Let's go back to that for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's your day look like? Take me. I was looking the other day. Actually, I screenshotted it, and it was Ryan Serhant's day. Another one was Mike Kolosh, awesome agent up on the Goldie. I've been looking at a few others. I won't name any more names, but the days are like extraordinary days. I'm curious on your day, like just a snapshot.
So I try really hard in the morning to be mum.
Yep.
So I
So
try
what time? Give us
5:30.
Yep.
I have a 7-month-old baby. So
Yeah.
whenever he wakes up is when the day begins.
Yes.
My husband works in dental, so he's out the door by 6 every morning as well. We have an au pair, which helps.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm up about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I just hang out with the kids for half an hour and do whatever they want to do, so that it's a bit of fun.
Bit of Scooby-Doo.
Get to be mum. Actually, the
Bit of
thing at the moment is
SpongeBob.
shadows on the roof. So you turn your phone, because it's still dark, so you turn your phone on and everyone makes patterns and butterflies and whatever, and we just lie there and have a giggle and a cuddle, and
I like that.
I get to have mum. And then the day starts, and obviously I like to make lunch. The kids are on the bus at the moment, which is a big novelty for them, but I walk them to the bus stop and I sit there and I pop them on the bus
That's
and
cool.
say, have a good day, so that then their knowledge in the morning is that I'm mum.
Yeah.
Then it starts, I get in my car and it's nonstop the whole way through. It could be yesterday I was down near Geelong. This morning I was in the office and then coming here, dealing with meetings, franchisees, staff, marketing, whatever is required is what jams into the day. Depending on where I am, I try to get home. I try to get a little bit of me time, which means I can either go for a run or go do a swim or something, some kind of exercise. Otherwise, I think you become a bit of a crackpot if you don't get out and do
absolutely.
something.
What time do you try and do that?
Whenever I can.
Okay.
So I'd like to think it's the mornings, but then I lose my time with my kids, and then I
Yep.
can sometimes go an entire day without spending
Yep.
time with them. So I don't want to sacrifice that.
Sure.
Sometimes I'll go for a run at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 45 minutes, get home, and then I'm back at it. Sometimes it's at the end of the day, it depends. And then I try to make sure that we have dinner together where possible. I'd like to do it more, but sometimes I'm on the phone. Just because my kids ate at 5 doesn't mean everybody's businesses finish at 5. So I can be on the phone till 6 o'clock at night, put the kids to bed, do the stories where I can. Still feeding my little ones. So there's that. And then my business partner happens to be in France at the moment.
Okay.
So we're working remotely. So once that finishes, I've got the kids to bed, we jump on and off we go again.
Yeah, because your nights, his times are, it's a bit tricky. But
it actually means I can jam more in the day. It makes my days a bit longer, but it means that in the day I'm doing the things and then at the night it's then
full days.
Strategy, planning, what's next, bouncing ideas, unpacking if it's been a challenging day, celebrating if it's been a great day. And then that's usually done with a glass of wine, if I'm honest. And then
you can be honest.
Yeah.
We are pretty honest. We drink more than we should.
We do, but
which is a
we're
bit
trying to cut it down.
We are? Oh.
Yeah. Midweek drinks are becoming fewer.
Yeah. Thank God.
It's a positive sign.
Well, good on you.
Yeah,
you can do it for me too.
Yes. No, that's awesome. They're big days. Yeah, I was curious. I mean, because it's a lot to juggle kids and business, but kids and business and real estate and CEO of how many offices now?
35.
Yeah, so a lot of offices.
I think the best piece of advice I was given is that kids need quality, not quantity. And that sits in the back of my mind, that you can sit with your kids all day but not actually engage with them and give them what they need. So I make sure when I'm there, it's quality. They've got mum, we have jokes, we've got laughs. They know that I understand what's happening at school and in their lives. And then if it's not quantity, at least the time they have is quality.
I had a quality conversation with my son last night. It was about 30 seconds. It says, just so you know what's coming with teenagers.
Yeah.
And he said to me, now that you're quite old.
My daughter referred to back in the olden days.
Because all the stuff you learnt was so long ago that you don't know anything anymore.
Oh, good.
Oh, ouch. Good one, Max.
I said, I wouldn't go that far, buddy. I said, I still know a few things. He goes, yeah, but it's not very relevant anymore, is it? So he's reached the golden age of 15 and a half. So
wow.
Just saying, you've got that coming soon.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good news.
Anyway,
positive things.
So we'll wrap this one up.
Yep.
Thank you for your insights, Charlotte. And
pleasure.
Look forward to chatting again.
Yeah, we'll see you shortly.
Thanks.